Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, please leave a 5-star review. I'm just listening to my own echo on my own playback. Guys, this is so exciting. My album is finally available for pre-order. My album Live from January 6th is available. You can go to Amazon right now and pre-order it. The album itself will drop on March 15th. So you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on iTunes. I will be making physical copies of, it on a CD version, on a vinyl version. I'm figuring that out. So from all my people who like physical things, feeling things, touching things, that will be for you. And just stay tuned. I'll let you know how and when you can buy those. Got a bunch of shows coming up, stand-up shows. This Saturday, I'm going to be with Comedians of the Compound out in Long Island at Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. Then I'm heading on the road. I'll be in Raleigh, going to North Carolina to do Good Nights Comedy Club on March 17th. Then I'm heading to Savannah, Georgia, March 19th to do the Wormhole. Sounds funny, the Wormhole, but I heard it's a good venue. And then I'm going to be heading to Florida to do Side Splitters in Tampa on March 20th. Then I'll be heading to Atlantic City with the Comedians of the Compound April 22nd and 23rd. So for all these tickets, go to my website, chrissiemayr.com. And if you're curious about the other Compound Media comedy shows, go to compoundcomedy.com. Some of them I'm on, some of them I'm not on. Sometimes it's just the boys. We like to mix up the lineups to keep it interesting for all you guys. Want to keep it fun. Okay. I'm so excited to have this gal on the podcast today. She is a performer, a power lifter, a Twitch streamer, a content creator. She's more than a triple threat. She's quad threat. Siri Dahl, how are you?
Hello, Chrissy. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
How does a beautiful lady get into powerlifting?
I hate cardio a lot.
Okay. I feel you on
I
that.
literally, no, it's been like a 6-year journey. Longer than that actually, but I very slowly got into strength sports at first, very general strength training, and literally I arrived there because I knew I wanted to become a gym rat, but I didn't want to become a cardio bunny. There was a point in my life where I knew so little about anything to do with athleticism that I Googled how to get fit without doing cardio.
Oh, it's such a pain in the ass because you're
It's
told
boring.
it's a crucial part of losing weight. Like, I don't know, maybe there's people out there who care about their cardiovascular fitness, but, like, I don't know, I feel like most of us just care about, like, getting svelte and looking good, and I've always been led to
Yeah.
believe that, like, there's no way to get there unless you're running on a treadmill for, like, an hour a day, and I've tried it and I immediately check out, like, within 5 minutes. I'm like
Mhm.
I'm like, "How do people do this?" Like, even if you listen to music, even if I have the most pumped up playlist, I just don't
Mhm.
understand how people can do it for that. And then I probably most people who feel the same, they just quit and then they just go back to McDonald's and the cycle repeats.
Yeah, something like that for sure. Yeah.
Like circuit training is a little bit more exciting. Like you get off and on, or like short sprints I can do, but just I can't do long continual running. So that's
Yeah.
neat. So
You
I
know,
like that
what's
you
funny
just
is
I like that you Googled
the
like how to get fit
the
without
kind of
cardio.
cardio
That's
that I actually enjoy. Yes, because I literally knew so little. Like, I didn't know anything. I didn't grow up doing sports or anything. And nowadays I do cardio intentionally, but I don't do a ton of it. It's not my primary form of exercise, and I only do one form of cardio, which is the Stairmaster, because for whatever reason, it's the thing I hate the least.
And how long did it take for you to start noticing a difference, like feeling a difference in your body, like with just the lifting? Did you cut out cardio altogether or
Oh.
you just did way less?
Um, I mean, I completely like I mean, to a degree, if you're lifting, if you're doing like high sets and reps, like you can achieve a sort of almost cardio state. Like if your heart rate goes high enough and you sustain it there, I always have my Apple Watch on, so it's always telling me my heart rate. Um, but I don't think I've when I first started getting into strength training, this is like back in like 2014, I pretty much didn't do cardio at all. I remember there was a time where I was just doing like really fast uphill walking on a treadmill. Um, but and that was also before I started powerlifting. So I was just like, I would go online and find like random training programs and just like do whatever looked like fun that had the least amount of cardio in it. And sometimes they were
And
tricking me though, because sometimes it'd be like, no cardio. And then it'd be like 45 burpees in a row. And I was like, okay, this is cardio. It's just without a
I've been
machine.
tricked. And you didn't fall into the trap that a lot of girls who think about lifting weights fall into, and that is the fear of bulking up and getting huge and getting, like, big, manly sized muscles.
I love my big manly sized muscles that I currently have. Uh no,
Would you
yeah,
say
like
it
so that
doesn't look like you do. I mean, I
I mean, I'm joking. Like, so the thing is, I could go on a whole long like diatribe right now about this. It's such a common like misconception in fitness for women, but it's like women generally, if you're like a cis woman who is not taking any sort of like supplements or steroids to assist with putting on muscle, like the estrogen in our bodies will usually like, unless you're just really genetically gifted at building muscle, which there are definitely women like that out there, like there's no way you're gonna get swole accidentally. Like you're not just gonna like
accidentally swole.
do a couple shoulder presses 3 days a week and be like, oh shit, I'm like a ginormous human being. Like that's just not how it works. And it's very funny that anyone would suggest otherwise. Um, but yeah, like I mean, I've always been thick, like I've always been like I was like chubbier as a teenager and like I've always had a higher body fat percentage. So for me, that kind of works really well as far as like my body's like filled out with muscle in places that I had no muscle before. And now I like look better than I ever did before. And I don't even train for the aesthetic benefit. I got into powerlifting just for like mental health reasons, honestly. And and that's what keeps me in it, is it literally, I like to say that it keeps me sane. But all of the, aesthetic benefits or like feeling like I look better, like I'm better in shape is obviously a huge plus.
Definitely.
Especially
How
for the
did
career field I'm in.
Oh, yeah. Gotta keep the money makers. I'm like, people would just say, like, your face is your money maker, but it's like your whole it's like your whole body at this point. How do
Mhm.
you feel like lifting helped your mental health?
It's so I've never been capable, I shouldn't say capable. I've tried things like meditation and like I have ADHD and that's just incredibly hard for me.
Same. Yeah.
Yes. So I've always been a fan of like forms of active meditation. Like I know how to knit. So for a long time I would like knit. I would knit a very mindless like knitting project and that would feel like I'm meditating the whole time. And these days now that's completely been taken over by pretty much any kind of exercise that I do. It's kind of like time when I can slow down and I think about things going on in my life, and or sometimes I just don't think about anything and I space out and I just enjoy feeling like that sweet pump, bro.
I love feeling the sweet pump. It is so good. I think that's what physical exertion really does. It, like, focus you into the present moment. It's almost like
Mhm.
for me, it helps block out all the shit that I'm worried about because it's like
Yes.
you're just focusing on the work and
Yes,
the
exactly.
the repetition can calm you down. It's like a nice focus.
Yeah. And it's also a huge source of like pride for me. I'm not the most competitive power lifter in the world. Like I don't have fucking records or anything like that. Like I'm stronger than the average woman of my age and size, I will say, but that's not what it's about to me. Like it's not about like trying to be the absolute best in something. It's just about trying to beat my own personal best, which is just a really cool, it's just changed the way that my relationship with my body works. Because I
Yeah.
think more in terms of what I'm capable of doing instead of solely what I look like.
That's awesome. That's, like, where I hope to get because like, I'm still at the, like, "All right, we gotta lose the X amount of weight," but, I think once you get to that place, you're like you start to
Mhm.
get some pride for, how much you're able to lift and, like, what you're able to do, and, like, yeah, you can help somebody I'd be like, "Pick up something heavy." I don't know. That's my goal one day. Pick up
I
everything.
do love that. Yeah, when a friend's moving and they ask me to help, I'm like, "Yeah,
You're like, "I got that. I got that
I'll
air
come pick up
conditioner."
that couch." Yeah.
So were you a pandemic OnlyFans girl, or did you get into it before it was cool?
Oh, before so I started out in the adult industry in 2012, very intentionally. Like, I was in college in Texas, and I had a wild hair that I really wanted to do porn, and I kind of thought of it, like, literally, like, akin to running away to join the circus, and that's literally what I did. I just moved out to Los Angeles. I moved across the country and started shooting porn, and I did that for 3 years. Then I retired from porn in 2015, just, like, personal life stuff going on. I had some things I needed to take care of, and I was away from the industry for 5 years, and I came out of retirement and went back into shooting full time in January 2020. So I just barely came out of retirement and, like, hit the ground running, going back into the porn industry, and then COVID shut everything down.
Yeah. How did you know how to get into it? Like, who did you first shoot with? Like, did you have any friends in the industry? Like, how did you know what to do and where to start?
It used to be different, honestly, before social media. And I mean, social media existed in 2012, but it was not on the scale that we see now. You know, like, Instagram wasn't, no one had 20 million followers on Instagram, because Instagram didn't even have 20 million users on the whole app in 2012. So, like, it just used to be a lot, I think, easier, honestly, to get into porn. There was also so much more stigma around doing porn or even showing skin online, that there were fewer people, women specifically, willing to do that work. So all I had to do was go to Los Angeles and, like, contact one of the talent agents in the adult industry and set a meeting to
That's
go,
it?
like, do, it's like a go see. It's almost like an audition, like, you know.
That sounds so easy. Did you have to send pictures or anything, or you just called and you're like,
Yeah,
"We're meeting."
yeah, I
Okay.
had very professional photos that I'd had taken ahead of time. So, like, I knew what I was doing. Like, I already had, like, a whole branding thing, like, worked out. I've always been very business minded about all of it. But it was, every step I took was extremely intentional, as opposed to, I mean, there's still the very classic story. Like, I think a lot of women still get into porn or just online sex work in general through, like, one thing leading to another, to another, to another. But for me, it was never that. It was literally, like, I was, like, a really nerdy, like, queer college kid, and I went, "I'm gonna go do that."
How did you know that you were like queer? What was that process like? Was that pre-college or pre-high school or
Um, it was just kinda, I mean, throughout adolescence, I would say, like, I was a late bloomer and didn't really date at all. Like, I kinda tried, but it didn't feel right. Nothing ever did. And then by the time I actually, like, started dating, the first, like, long-term relationship that I ended up being in was with another woman. So, and that's all around college age. So I came out to my family as a lesbian at first when I was, like, 19. Yeah, I was 19. And then after a couple years and, like, dating a couple different people who are all women, I actually, like, kind of reverse realized that I'm bisexual.
you were like, "He's
Like, so
cute too, damn it."
I
Yeah.
kinda grew up assuming I was straight, just because I didn't really have any other narrative to, like, go by. And but I also didn't, like, really like a lot of boys. And
Mm,
then, so it's like this whole thing where I was like, "I'm gay because the first person I really like a lot is a woman." And then it
right.
was like, "No, wait, I do like some men. It's just I didn't like any of the men that I knew until now."
That can be so confusing. Like, I didn't really meet any guys that I really liked. Like, one was the guy who I took me to junior prom, and then I didn't meet another guy that I actually really liked until, like, after college.
Mhm.
So, I can understand it, like, it gets confusing. Did you feel like being a queer person, like, doing porn, like, helped you, hurt you? Was it
Oh, hugely helped. I mean, which was one of the reasons that I was attracted to doing it and wanted to do it in the first place, was because I knew that I was a little bit of a freak, and that I wanted to do a lot of sexual experimentation, but I also didn't really like feel comfortable necessarily or safe just doing it randomly with other people, like civilians.
Okay.
So I felt like, oh, well, porn is like a place where people are just like generally really open about their sexual interests, and everything is negotiated ahead of time. And it seems like a very safe and relatively controlled environment to do this in. And the standards of like everyone is STI tested every 2 weeks. Um, if anyone ever does have a scare of an STI of any sort, there's like contact tracing. So like it's incredibly safe as far as like physically and health wise, incredibly safe industry to work in. A lot of those things were like some of the biggest motivating factors for me to want to do it. And then the other like huge piece of the puzzle is just the fact that I am an exhibitionist, which is a
That's what
huge
I was
part of
gonna ask about,
enjoying my
like,
work.
that I feel like that is such a crucial part to, like, being in the industry, like, if you're and it's actually the perfect balance, you're like, "If I wanna try things out sexually in a kind of controlled environment, no crazy X factor, no crazy, like, a guy or girl has a meltdown and who knows,
Mhm.
like, they start throwing stuff at you or they just, like, to try it out in a relationship can be a little bit more of a risk versus, like, in
Right.
porn, it's like, this is kind of part of our job, it's all planned out, but you do have to be okay with, like, the sort of lack of privacy piece or
Yeah. And
you
it
have
being
to
on the
be
internet forever and ever.
Oh, forever and ever, yeah, did
Yeah.
that ever hit you, or did you have a good sense of that before you went in? Did you ever have a moment where you're like, "Oh, shit," you
Oh
did something
yeah.
that you wish you
No,
maybe hadn't, or
I always knew that. And I took things slower when I first started out shooting. Like I only did like very like plain sex scenes to begin with. And a lot of that also was because I wanted to make sure that I was very comfortable with each step as I was going, because I never wanted to like go farther than my own boundaries without realizing where the line was. So that's a thing that comes up a lot in like just wider discussions of like sexuality and like sexual preferences that I have with other people in my industry and also in my personal life is like sometimes you don't know that you have a boundary until you encounter it. Like you get up to the line, you're like, oh, I don't like that thing. Like,
you're like, "I guess I can't light myself on fire. Sorry, guys."
yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you could think of any scenes or worked with anybody where you, like, wish you hadn't or you regretted anything?
Um, no, I wouldn't say that I have any that I regret. I've had some like, how should I like? I've had experiences on set that weren't like at the height of professionalism, but I'm very fortunate to have never felt like there was abuse on set toward me or that I observed happening on set to anyone else. It's not that those things don't ever happen in the industry. I mean, they happen in every single industry, but I've just been very fortunate that it's never been like immediately in my environment when I'm at work. And I mean, like the worst thing that ever happened to me was a shoot where it was this threesome scene and it was like a threesome with two guys, and both of the male talent like they bruised my boobs really bad because they kept like they were like
Oh, no!
this was I used to have much bigger boobs. If listeners can just Google like Siri porn star
Where did they
and find
go?
I had breast reduction
Okay.
surgery during the time when I was retired from the
Okay.
business. So that was 6 years ago. I had that surgery done. But my boobs before the surgery were much larger. I'm like a triple D cup now, but back then they were like an double H. So,
Oh,
so
wow.
like these two guys in this threesome scene were just like, I
Beating
mean,
them
it's just
up.
like
It
a
sounds like
cat,
it, yeah.
like when a cat like gets mad at a dog and it's just
Mhm.
it was like that. And I
What?
just was
I
like,
don't understand, like,
like I
was
called
that a
cut like
kink
four
for them?
times.
Yeah, was that a kink for them? Like, why would you how was that fun? I don't know.
I swear to God, I laugh about it now because I'm like stupid men, because I kept calling cut and they'd be like, oh sorry, like because I was like, you're gonna bruise my tits. I can't get bruises. I have a shoot next week.
Was it like that you had the
And then
biggest boobs and
we'd
they
roll and they'd
were
like forget that I called cut, and then
Oh,
they would like hit my titties again. I was like, oh my God.
did they ever explain why? Were they just, like, entranced by them or just like
No one needed to explain it. Literally, this was a
okay,
thing that I had to deal with constantly back when I had the larger boobs. Is like people constantly, you know,
just
when people call
fascinated.
tits fun bags.
That's what they were thinking. They were
I'm pretty
treating
sure
them
that
like
that term came from some woman having titties like mine way back in the day,
yeah.
and that was how the word was invented
And,
because
like, would a guy like that like a girl to do that to their dick? Probably not. So,
I
yeah.
don't know, but I mean, the next time a dude like bats my titties like that, I will get under him and I will go on his
Yeah.
balls and see how he likes it.
That's that sounds like a good idea. Oh my god. So then you
I
had
have a question, if I may, since I'm a
oh,
guy.
hello, Frank.
Hi,
Hello.
Frank.
So you went from an H to a triple D, right?
Yes.
Were you naturally an H or were those enhanced?
It was natural. Yeah.
Okay. Just curious. I'm sure many in the chat were curious. Thank
It's
you.
a good question. Thank you, Frank.
Well,
That
because
question comes up a lot, and I think I take for granted that I assume if I say breast reduction, everyone knows that I mean that I had natural boobs in the first place. Because if you had augmented tits, it's actually
right.
an implant extraction. So I had a breast reduction, not an implant extraction, because I've never had implants. My tits were naturally just ridiculously huge, and I had them cut up and some of the tissue removed.
And, like, also some of the sizing, like, I know, like, I'm a double D, which in s with some, like, lingerie, they consider that to be an E. So,
Hmm.
I guess, like, would an F be considered a triple D? And then an
Yes,
H would be
yeah.
considered I mean, like, do they
And
even
it's American versus UK sizing, since
right.
generally American bra manufacturers don't even make anything above a triple D.
Right, I've
So,
noticed that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go above a triple D, then that's why in American bra sizes, if you go to like Nordstrom and like there's like Warner's or like some of the like American manufacturers, you can find bras that are like 5 Ds. It's like 32 D because it just keeps
You
going
just have to
because
go to, like
America
yeah.
never came up with another size.
They're like, "We don't know what else to do. We'll add another D on there." Which is wild because America, I feel like, is a place where we're kind of obsessed with boobs and a lot of girls get implants.
Hmm.
Maybe they
But
just
no one knows their correct bra size in this
true.
country, and it's fucking Victoria's Secret's fault.
Really? Why
Which
do
is
you think
another
that is?
rant I could go on
Oh,
because they
I'm
measure
over
you.
Victoria's Secret. Like, I used
Oh,
to be obsessed with them, but now I don't know. I'm just disgusted by the
same,
brand overall, and, like, I think their
same.
marketing sucks. I just, like I'm so angry with everything they're
I'm
doing
on the
right now.
Savage by Fenty train as far as lingerie goes now.
Really? Okay.
Yes, it's the best. Rihanna's lingerie. I'm obsessed. But so Victoria's Secret measures you incorrectly on purpose to make you think that you have bigger boobs. So like, but
What?
it makes no sense. So
Wow.
like, when you measure a bra size, you measure your band, which is
Right.
the
Around,
your
yeah.
rib cage at the thinnest part, like right here. And then you measure your bust, which is across the fullest part where your nipples are, right here. And then what tells you your bra size is literally just a ratio difference between this measurement and this measurement.
Okay. That
So
sounds
technically
so simple.
yeah, like a 34D is actually technically the same cup size as a 32 double D because it's
Okay.
a ratio.
Right.
But
Because then
Victoria's
you have,
Secret
like,
doesn't do
sister
that.
sizes. Yeah, you'll have, like you could fit in different sizes.
Victoria's Secret does this stupid shit where they only measure you in one spot. They don't do a band and a bust measurement. They take a measuring tape, they put it around your back, so it goes straight across your back, and then they pull it over the front and they go up and over.
Yes, I've
They
noticed
measure it
that.
through your armpits, and I'm like, so you're telling me that a bra that how the fuck does that tell me like what size bra I would? It's bullshit.
Because
And they like
nobody's boobs are A, in your armpits, or B, they're not your boobs are not, like, here. Like, the biggest part of
yeah,
your boobs is not up
yeah.
here.
So if I go to Victoria's Secret, they tell me that I need to buy a like 38C bra size, which is so hilariously
A
fucking
38
wrong.
is such a big band because it's like
Yes.
you look, like, little
I have
around
I have like a
here.
28
Yeah,
inch waist. I don't wear a
yeah.
fucking 38 band size, but that's what I'm like. They just don't know how to measure
That
it.
is
It's so
so
sad.
infuriating.
Hmm.
'Cause I was like, "Man, it seems like I would go to my deal would be I would, like, go to Victoria's Secret, like, maybe once every, like, 4 to 6 months, you pop in, and it's like, 'Oh, you wanna be sized?' And I'm like, 'Sure,' every woman hears that they don't know their own bra size, and I swear to God, every time I would go in, I would get sized, and it would be a different size every time,
Yes.
and I'm like, 'Oh, it's
Yeah.
almost as if this is a huge grift to get me buying new bras in different
Yeah.
sizes.'"
Yep. I mean, it really is. Like, I don't know how deep the grift goes as far as like how intentional the sizing is. I feel like it's just like they don't really care about the accuracy anyway. So like they're not going to train employees to care about it. But still, at the end of the day, they're just measuring incorrectly, period.
It's wild. I noticed, like, because I know that Lex Wexner, who was the kind of head guy, he was
Did
in
you listen to the
charge. He was
podcast?
in charge. Your podcast or
No, there's a podcast about Victoria's Secret sucking.
really?
Very good.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
know there was a whole podcast. But
It's
there's
like a
Lex
serial
Wexner.
podcast.
He used to be in charge of Victoria's Secret, which is under the umbrella of I think it's Limited Brands.
L Brands. But the limited, yeah, it's because it's all the same company.
And
Yeah.
he was one of the guys heavily involved with Epstein, and they got him out of there. And all of this, like, I think it's very woke posturing, virtue signaling type marketing that they've been doing ever since. Like, they kicked this guy out, and then all of a sudden they're obsessed with bigger women. They're obsessed with diversity in a way that does not seem sincere to me. And I'm like, well, you know what? It's not working for me anymore. But
trying to cover their asses now.
Yeah, now it's like they're being extra woke, extra inclusive, and so I'm turned off by that. And just overall, you can get cheaper stuff that's just as good. I think growing up, like high school, Victoria's Secret was like the go-to, and you just
Pink.
yeah. And I just didn't snap out of it. But now you're like, there's so many other brands that are honestly probably made in the same factory anyway. But I just like out of principle, like won't shop there anymore. And I'm like, this guy was like super sus and super sketchy. They get him out, and then they're like, all right, we gotta do a 180 on this company so people don't look more deeply into it. So
yeah, it's very transparent.
it's pretty great. No, I love that you're wise to that, because I mean that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. I know this is a little bit of old news. So, and I believe it was October of 2021 was when OnlyFans had the big scare of they're going to stop putting sexually explicit material on their site, and the whole site.
And like 2 days later, they were like, "Hold on, never mind."
2 days later, they did a big JK. Yeah, this was a big scary thing because I'm friends with a bunch of girls who do OnlyFans, and they're, in the mainstream as well. And it was amazing how fast they turned around, because they saw people probably just dropping like flies and going to other sites. Sure. What was your experience like during this time? Were you starting to move your fans away?
I was horrified. As soon as it happened, so I've always had a presence on other fan platforms that, try to compete with OnlyFans, but it's like you have to go where the traffic is, and the most traffic always has been and still is on OnlyFans. But I migrated my whole content library over to another newer website called Fansly.
Okay. Yes, I've heard about that one. Yeah.
When the OnlyFans scare started happening, and I'm also on like another website, Loyal Fans.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I have my hands in pots all over the place. And at this point, I just kind of like hope for the best and plan for the worst. Like I still regularly update my content on these other sites. So if something does actually happen permanently with OnlyFans, that I can have a pretty easy transition to making another platform my primary. But ever since OnlyFans like rescinded that rule or that announcement, I'm still on OnlyFans. It's still like my primary part of my business, honestly.
Which is a little scary to have, and that's, I just feel like that's like the biggest lesson for our generation is like multiple income streams, no matter what. It's like, we can't live like our parents anymore. This is not like boomers could get by having one job their whole life. They all had crazy job security, but I feel like most of us have never had that feeling of like complete job security.
And I mean, this is something I should have thought of probably mentioning when we were doing our pre-show stuff to go over. But I mean, this is the kind of the big scare for me on the horizon right now is there's a thing in Congress called, it's called the Earn It Act. It's a piece of legislation that's getting pushed through as we speak. And it's, if this actually like completely passes, I haven't actually looked at updates today as far as what's going on, but I mean, this is a thing that's been happening for the last couple of weeks. It would be like pretty bad for free speech online,
Is this
especially
something
sexual free speech.
the latest seeing about the Earn It Act, which I have not even heard of, but the latest news I'm seeing about this was from 6 days ago. Let me pull this up here.
Yes.
Congress barrels forward with Earn It Act determined to end encrypted messaging online. Critics are warning that the bill could threaten encryption-free expression online.
Yes.
What is their goal here?
Well, as always, they're claiming that they're going to help prevent child abuse.
Okay. Yeah, they're saying it would remove Section 230 liability protection from tech platforms if they violated the child sexual abuse material laws at the state and federal level. Section 230 shields all websites with user-generated content from being liable over what users post on it and has been a bedrock of the modern internet. So they're concerned with CP basically.
Yeah, basically, if this goes through as written, it would make user content, like platforms that host user generated content. So whether that, I think that's all platforms, but obviously OnlyFans would be a massive target. And some of the nonprofits that have had a large hand in like sponsoring this bill and donating to candidates who have supported it, it's like one of them is NCOSE, which is the National Center on Child Sexual Exploitation, which used to be called Morality in Media, because their whole ass thing since like the 80s has been getting porn off the newsstands. And by porn, they mean like Sports Illustrated magazine. So
Oh
this is like an
man.
extremely conservative organization.
Are you feeling like these people are anti like sex workers, or do you feel like they could be genuinely trying
They're
to clamp
anti-sex work.
down on
They're anti-sex
child
work
porn?
100%.
So
Yeah,
do you think the child porn problem is not that bad?
uh I don't think that that's the right question for these organizations specifically, because if they were concerned about helping children who are victims of abuse and child sexual exploitation, they would not be targeting companies that specifically make money from consensual adult sexual content. Like, so a platform like OnlyFans has all this shit in place to make sure you're over 18 if you're posting content. Like, it's really, really, really hard to game the system on legit adult platforms. You know where it's not hard at all is on platforms like Facebook, which Facebook has
Mm,
like literally exponentially more cases of child sexual abuse material that are
okay.
found on that platform, but they're not targeted because they're not a porn platform, so it's not an easy target.
Right. And I know Twitter too. I mean, it's like maybe I'm a hypocrite because I use Twitter and I like Twitter, but the crazy CP on Twitter. My friend Eliza Blue, who's worked with a few
Mhm.
people who have tried to, get their own child sexual abuse material off there. I mean,
Mhm.
just takes them so long to acknowledge something,
Yes.
so long to get something down, like really, really horrible. And
Yeah.
and it's like if you're somebody who like looks to Twitter for your porn, like, it's crazy. I remember people were sending me like, "Oh my God," like trying to, they wanted me to help these folks, like, I guess, get it taken down. And it was
Yeah.
shocking to me because I had never seen anything like this in my whole life. It's like, I don't want to say it was like traumatizing, but I was like, wow, I'm like,
I mean, it
I
can
gotta
be.
report these
Like,
accounts. And it was
yeah.
horrible to see. And I just was like, damn, it made me feel like the powers that be are not doing enough to like
Yeah.
protect these kids.
Yeah. And that's true, and it's like, I think we can in the adult industry, this is a huge conversation that we've been having, ever since Pornhub lost their ability to process credit card payments in December 2020, because it was literally by the hands of the same like actors, as far as NCOSE and another organization that's also been targeting adult companies in the name of protecting children. That other organization is called Exodus Cry, but they're both kind of like rooted in some like religious conservative
Okay.
beliefs. And it is very much about attacking sex workers who are doing consensual sex work and calling it helping children. But
Hmm.
um, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, oh, you realize that we all have the same interests at heart. Like, people who work in, like, as someone who makes my career in adult films, the last fucking thing I want is my safety or the safety of my community and my ability to make a living to be compromised by some piece of shit abusing children and trying to profit from it and disseminate child porn.
Right. And it's not fair to conflate and confuse the two and say that the sex worker industry or like OnlyFans or even Pornhub, to say that is one and the same as child porn. And it really a compromise has to happen, because like you know, only the truly like sickest of people would be like, yeah, let's keep all the child porn going, of course. But at the same time, like, you can't expect, I understand the Christian conservatives. I understand the people who, I understand the point that they think that porn leads to eventually like people cheating on their girlfriends and wives, and I can understand their point that it's the breakdown of the family, and some people can't control themselves, and like, I get it. Some people can't control themselves and will watch porn all day and like just jerk off instead of like going for any of their goals. And just like any other vice, it can be addictive. But like, okay, is that necessarily fair to do for the people who make their living, like you said, consenting adults, and for the people who it enhances their relationships and their marriages, and they can control themselves, and it is like a special thing they look at or share with their partner once in a while? I don't think those people should be penalized. It's horrible that CP exists, but the answer is not to shut it all down, because of course then it goes to the black market. You're never going to stop the porn industry.
That was going to be my next point, which was, you know, a huge thing back in 2018 was the bill FOSTA SESTA. It was two acts that were passed simultaneously, but we refer to them together as FOSTA SESTA. And that kind of happened concurrently when the website Backpage went offline, because it was literally like seized by the FBI. So the thing about Backpage, though, is that even though there were definitely like ads for like bad things that went up on Backpage, whenever they found it, like the people running Backpage, whenever they found evidence of like child abuse or anything illegal going on there, they would voluntarily turn that over as evidence to police. So they were actually doing more to help catch child predators because they had the evidence. And as soon as Backpage was killed, it's like, okay, now you lost one of your biggest cooperators in all of these investigations. You are forcing it underground. And it's the same thing with all this, that when they keep attacking people who do consensual sex work in the name of protecting abused children who are not being abused by consensual sex workers. They're being abused by opportunistic
traffickers. And it's mixed up with drugs.
You are forcing it off of the legitimate platforms, which means that no one now has the ability to gather that evidence and turn it over. You're making it harder to find. But at the end of the day, that's why, you know, when you asked me earlier if my AirPod fell out. When you asked, there we go, making sure it's connected. When you asked me earlier, like, is, you know, this, when I was talking about NCOSI, formerly known as Morality in Media, like, are they serious about protecting children, or are they just like, do they hate sex workers? That's where I say they hate sex workers more than they care about protecting children. Because if they cared about protecting children, they would understand that the repercussions of their own actions lead to more children being put in harm's way. And like, there's literally no question about that. The ACLU frequently is putting out, like, they've already been on the side of sex workers in these issues and come out to support us and go against like bills like the Earn It Act. So yeah, it's just like such a clusterfuck, and I don't even really like this phrase because I feel like it's inaccurate, but it's the closest thing I can think of. It's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, there's this part of the internet that we hate, so let's just ruin everything about the entire internet.
And I would
which is what happens if you get rid of Section 230, which is what the Earn It Act would do.
And I could take a lot of these acts or these politicians or these representatives more seriously if they weren't so obviously protecting people like Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And it's like, I think I retweeted something that was like, oh, we know the names of all the like the doxed, you know, people who donated to the Canadian trucker convoy, but we don't know any of the customers from Maxwell and Epstein, and they're, you know, some names, of course, have like slipped
Oh
out. Like
boy. Yeah.
people know about Clinton and Prince Andrew, but it's like, man, you're not gonna go for these people. You're not gonna out them and pursue any kind of anything. It's hard to take it seriously. It's like at the end of the day, they're
Yeah.
still gonna protect powerful people,
Yeah.
which makes me think too. It's like, oh, you don't really care about the kids. Like if it's protecting powerful people or if it's profitable, like I know that's such a black bill. Like as long as it stays profitable, it's always going to be a problem. But people are
Yeah.
sick, and I don't know. What are we gonna do? Nothing. We're just
It's
gonna complain.
fucked.
It's fucked.
Also, it doesn't help that most of the senators are like 80, and I don't think they even know what the internet is. Like, we have people creating laws that impact like our most valuable public resource, which is the internet, and these people are too fucking old to really understand what it actually is.
It's like age, and
that's
it's
funny.
also long-term limits. Like there's no reason why Nancy Pelosi should still be in office. Like just like okay, I get like age, but like you shouldn't be serving in the same position for like 10 years. I don't know.
Oh, as a I live in Kentucky, so as a Kentuckian, I can attest to the fact that I don't know a single fucking person in this state who actually like likes Mitch McConnell and wants him to still be in office. He just keeps getting reelected because down ballot voting is a thing.
Yeah.
That's why.
I'm so in a place where it's hard for me to trust voting as being like legitimate at all. Like I have to try to like not be so negative on that. You want to hope that your votes are legitimate and they go through, but it's just like it gets harder and harder to believe in that. Andrew Thomas, one of my
sexy ladies,
fast becoming a super fan. Happy 2022, sexy ladies.
Happy 2/22/22/22 Tuesday.
It's a magical day for those who believe in numerology. This probably would be a very cool birthday if I'm sure some babies.
Oh, that would be cool.
Popped out today. The Donut King. Siri, you're a goddess. You're so fit. Pant. Great interview, Chrissie. The simps are coming out, Siri.
Donut King. I recognize that username.
I was looking at some of your merch. You just have like a hat that says simp. I'm like, I actually really want to get that for myself. Like, cute.
I'm so glad you like it. I have simp socks too. I make my boyfriend wear the simp hat a lot.
Ooh. Just be like, put this on and go down on me. Thanks. Stephen Woolery for the hustle. Thanks, Stephen. Let's see if we have any other good questions in here. The spaz from Rain Man, all the dudes simping for the girl, but I'm just here admiring the classy mid-70s exposed brick. Very classy.
Here, spaz. Let me just I'll just move so you don't have to look at my mug anymore. You can just look at the brick.
Wow.
I hope you're getting your money's worth of this brick right now.
He's like, don't be a brick tease. The spaz is back. Old people making laws about the internet, just like people who've never touched a gun trying to make gun laws. True. True. Fat Master, would you agree that when a male talent saying they want to shoot content with you is another way of saying I want to do solo with you off cam? Okay, what I think he's trying to say.
Okay, I think that solo is just a typo there.
Okay. It sounds like he's trying to say, which a lot of my friends have said this too, like when a guy reaches out, oh, I want to do content with you. I want to do like content swapping. It's really just like they want to bang you and they're just using that as an excuse.
I mean, maybe, but also like, I don't know, am I interpreting this differently? Because in my industry, like content's a huge thing. I shoot a lot of my own content. That's how I usually get my content that I sell on OnlyFans. But specifically, my content is me having sex with people. So like, if a male talent reaches out and is like, want to shoot content, like, is that him just trying to fuck me? Like, yes, because I'm trying to fuck him. Like, but we're trying to fuck each other so we can film it.
I'm thinking, I wonder if it comes from a place like just trying to fuck you and less of the content, more of like just the fucking. I wonder if that's the priority.
Well, I mean, see, that's what I want though, because I don't even shoot content with guys that I've never met before. So, I mean, it would have to be a male talent that I've worked with and had some sort of chemistry with. So if he wants to shoot with me for content because he just wants to have sex with me again, then that's honestly what I want to be happening. It'd be weird if he wanted to shoot content with me and didn't like me.
Right.
Enjoy sex with me.
I think what I'm wondering is like, right, do I imagine your DMs are full of guys that like they just want to like get with you and they don't necessarily care if it's like on camera or not. Like that's just the way in.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's fanboys. That's not the same as actual legitimate male talent like wanting to shoot. Like I only shoot content with known industry people who I've shot with before, who are like serious about their content.
Okay.
So I vet everyone. I don't fuck fans or even do any type of like meetings or anything. Fans ask me all the time and I'm just like, no, I will block your email now.
I have a question, Chrissy. I don't know if you remember, but about a month ago, you had Kennedy Carter in studio for Wet Spot, and she flew out to LA to shoot with, I forget the male talent's name, but they shot a couple of scenes. I think they were, content swapping and stuff. And then he wanted to just sleep with her without the cameras, and she said absolutely not. I wonder if that's a thing. Is that a line that gets crossed sometimes, or is it a gray area?
It's just up to the individual. I mean, some people, and it also depends on like what people's boundaries are. Cause I mean, it's a lot of adult talent have partners that they go home to, and that they're in a committed relationship with, and whatever their boundaries are about work and sexual things outside of their primary relationship, that's totally up to them. But like, for me, like I don't, because when I shoot for work, it's work. And doesn't mean I don't enjoy it, but it's like I don't have sexual adventures away from work, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm describing
does
that
properly. Almost make
like,
it seem more like, does it ever get to a point for you where sex seems more like a work thing than like a fun thing?
No. I mean, because it's hard to describe. Like there's definitely a degree of like compartmentalization between the two, but I'm still very like present and in tune with myself and what I enjoy when I'm having sex on camera. And to be honest, I don't really act a whole lot different off camera either. Like my boyfriend's actually sitting across from me right now and he's doing something else on his computer, but I can see him like looking at me and he's like giving me a little like, because he shoots a lot of my stuff with me for my OnlyFans. So he knows, because he has sex with me all the time on camera and off camera. And I'm like, babe, am I different? He just shook his head.
Is he like your stunt? Is he like your stunt dick, or is he like fully in it? I haven't seen your content.
Oh, a little bit of both, because he started out as my stunt dick, but he also like has his own OnlyFans now too. He's spreading his wings.
Ooh. And are you two like fully open relationship? Is there ever any like jealousy issues?
We're poly, and so yeah, we have like our own like shit worked out as far as what that means for us. But jealousy totally happens. It's a very natural part of like any type of non-monogamous arrangement. Like you're gonna have moments of jealousy. It's just that you have to like acknowledge that it's there and acknowledge why, because sometimes it's coming from a really weird place that you wouldn't have anticipated. But when you really think about like, oh, why am I feeling jealousy about this? It's like sometimes it's just for like the kind of most like dorky little wholesome reasons.
Oh, really? So it's not always about like, I imagine I would feel the most jealous, like, oh, okay, like my boyfriend is with this other very hot girl, but like totally different look than me. Like maybe she's like a hot brunette or like total blonde thing. And I'd be like, oh, well, even if I were to get the most in shape possible, I can never be like that look or that vibe. For me, that's probably where I would feel like the most jealousy. Like, oh, this is just a whole different type,
Yeah. And I mean, that's definitely like part of it. It can just be coming from like anywhere. And that's why it's just, you have to like think about it. And probably therapy is always a great idea, personal or even like couples, for different needs. Yeah.
Yeah. Therapy is always good. Therapy is always a good idea. Let's see. I want to go because there was kind of some recent OnlyFans drama going on.
There's been a couple things. They like had a new
So
I didn't
OnlyFans,
see this one. Ooh, that's
OnlyFans,
fun. That's
this
spicy.
is spicy. This came out
That's today.
today. OnlyFans accused of conspiring to blacklist rivals. Particularly
FanCentro.
FanCentro has begun legal action in the U.S. against OnlyFans owner Leonid Radvinsky, according to the BBC.
Interesting.
OnlyFans has been accused of directing an unidentified social media company to blacklist many competitor adult websites in 2018, according to a BBC report. OnlyFans is an online subscription platform known for its adult content. We know this, with performers linking to adult websites using their social media accounts. BBC News said it learned that rival adult website FanCentro has begun legal actions against the owner and the company.
I want to know what I mean, I can't, I don't, they don't mention the actual social media company in here, but I'm like, it's got to be, for them to give enough of a shit about this to file a lawsuit, it has to be a big social media platform like Instagram or Twitter.
And it's also, the company which receives the OnlyFans payments, which is Phoenix Internet LLC. It was submitted to a U.S. court last November. FanCentral claims that social media content of adult performers promoting rival websites to OnlyFans were placed on an international database, the Global Internet Forum to Counter Terrorism, GIFCT, the BBC said. So many initials here. OnlyFans representatives allegedly paid bribes to the social media company's employees to facilitate the practice. According to the legal action, FanCentral believes the database was manipulated, which meant that many adult performers had their social posts
they mention it
removed
now, Instagram,
and accounts disabled despite no terrorist content. This happened most noticeably on Instagram. And now they're calling it meta platforms. I guess, I don't know, because Facebook straight up, maybe it's got bad press or bad reputation now. FanCentro is seeking financial damages. This is pretty wild. This seems like very calculated and manipulative.
This is true. I mean, I don't like this. It's a little annoying. I can totally understand why FanCentro's like, fuck you, OnlyFans, because like before OnlyFans took over the whole industry, the really big moneymaker for the industry was like premium Snapchats. And FanCentro is the platform that popularized that and created a way for models to monetize private Snapchat accounts. So FanCentro, I think, is just really salty that they've kind of been replaced by OnlyFans and been trying to like pull one over, which is like, I don't know what fucking truth there is, if at all, to these claims in this lawsuit. But I will say that just as a performer and an activist for this industry, I really fucking dislike platforms suing each other. That's the last thing we need right now when we are being attacked by the US government, and we need to actually help each other survive this, not be like, you took my traffic, I'm gonna sue you. That just seems a little like short-sighted.
It does seem very salty. I don't know. I feel like a lot of these proposed bills are just like for show. Maybe because I'm not as worried because I'm not in the industry, but it's like, come on, you're never gonna, I think you're just, it's way too profitable of an industry. And so many people use sites like OnlyFans and like, you're never going to get people to stop paying for this and wanting.
They won't get people to stop, but they can definitely make it harder, and they can deplatform people. So I mean, OnlyFans didn't always exist before OnlyFans existed, because again, things like FOSTA SESTA, when that passed in 2018, and now Earn It Act, if this becomes law, they don't target studio sites. So they're not going to take down studio porn. We at least have like a Supreme Court decision that favors freedom of expression as far as like obscenity lawsuits go. To a large degree, the creation of adult media is actually pretty well protected by freedom of speech, but individuals uploading their own self-created adult content to the internet and selling it is in a very precarious position right now. So which is what sucks about that is, I make more money now than I've ever made before in the adult industry, and I can be completely self-sufficient, and I do not have to wait for the phone to ring and for some company that makes $1 billion a year to decide to write me a paycheck for like $1,000 for a scene. That's how it used to be for all of us. So the fact that I can be totally self-sufficient as an individual independent model is hugely meaningful. And if platforms like OnlyFans are attacked and fail because they're user-generated content platforms and they lose the protections of Section 230, that basically puts me in a position as a model to have to be completely dependent once more on studio work, which means I'd also have to sell my house in Kentucky and move to fucking LA, which is like something I really don't want to do.
When did you move out of LA?
I moved away from LA in 2015.
Okay. Well, like, it's probably gotten way worse since then. I was there.
Oh, it is way worse. I'm there every
beginning.
month and I see it. And
Oh, you are going regularly. Okay.
I'm like, glad I'm not here permanently.
What changes have you noticed, like, most obviously since when you lived there?
Just the economy. I mean, that's nationwide, obviously, but everything hits harder in a city like LA, where it's just already exorbitantly expensive compared to other places. And I just see the gap between like the just complete disappearance of anything akin to middle class. It's insane. Like,
I feel like that was
it's
the
just
goal of the
insane.
whole pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Blunt says, "Hail Simcast." He's confused. Shows that's a show
Hello,
I do on
Paul
Sunday,
Blunt.
which I would love for you to
that's
do.
a stoner Paul Blart joke. Paul Blunt, is that?
Yeah,
like,
sounds
I hope
like
so.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. G Diddy, your simp game's strong, Chris. Oh yeah, I am simping a little bit for Siri.
Aw.
The spaz.
I'm simping for Chrissy.
The spaz from Rain Man. One thing I never understood with porn, they take blood to test every 14 days or so, right? So when they test for STDs, why don't they also test for heroin and meth as well? Might help with all the young performers dying. Damn.
All the young performers dying. I mean,
how many? I mean, it's a couple. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah, there have been
Nobody
a
should be
couple
dying,
of
but
higher profile performers who have passed in the last year. And I mean, not all of them were actually actively performing at the time. But that's a weird question.
And also, like, even if
it
you
also
could
seems
test,
to carry an assumption that a lot of people in the industry are doing heroin and meth, which, as someone who's been performing in this industry for like 6 years total, I can tell you is 100% not true.
This wouldn't even help. Like, let's say there are a bunch of people in the adult industry doing these drugs. Well, so what? You have the presence of these drugs. That's not going to make some. If you're on them showing up in a test is not. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. Like, if you're on them, and you don't care.
I'm just going to throw this out there. We should be testing all the lawyers for heroin and meth every 14 days. Because if you want to see, just like think about like who is
let's test everyone.
Getting high all the time.
Yeah, we need to test all people in all jobs.
Lawyers are great. They're very necessary. I'm just saying, like, as a as far as like pools of people who like love recreationally using drugs, lawyers are like pretty high up on that list. A lot of cokehead lawyers in the world.
True.
So if we're just gonna like randomly tell people they should be drug tested because other people in their career field are known to do some drugs,
I wonder if
we gotta apply it across the board.
That's a good point. I wonder if to me it seems like the people like the people in the adult industry who have died recently, I feel like it was the instances were linked more to like bullying and maybe like mental health than
yeah, there's always quite a bit of mental health stuff going on there. Yeah.
Spaz can confirm that he is a lawyer and the most popular for us is cocaine.
Called it.
Okay, speaking of, now that I've talked about actual drugs, I'm going to talk about not real drugs.
Oh shit, yeah. Fake drugs.
Let me throw this up on the screen here. Where is the website? I don't know where it is. Guys, I don't know if you struggle with anxiety, but I definitely do. If you feel like you can't avoid stress as well, or if you're in pain. Oh, is there music on this site now? How strange. Are you playing the music? What the hell's going on? Are you really doing that on purpose, Frank? What the fuck? He's trying out.
Yeah, I thought maybe since there's new music on StreamYard, you'd replace them while you do a little
editing. All right, cool. We're adding some
and if it sucks, then we won't do it ever again.
Don't get creative on me. No, I'm just kidding. You can do whatever you want. Do you guys feel like you can't avoid stress and anxiety? Are you in pain or having trouble sleeping? Or maybe, just maybe, you'd like to have a calmer brain while you stay active? That's where our friends at Cushy Dreams have solutions. Cushy Dreams specializes in high quality, smokable, this stuff that you know that it is. I can't say it because they'll ding me. And it's been known to help with anxiety, depression, inflammation, pain relief, and it might just work for you. They offer both indica and sativa strains, and you get to pick the mood you want to experience. Relax, create, hustle, peace, energy, and dream. Plus, there's no hangover because there's no high. Whether you want to smoke beautiful bud or pre-rolls, Cushy Dreams has you covered. Their popular pre-rolls are rolled in organic hemp paper and feature an even slow burn. Flour is available in nitrogen-sealed cans and now humidity-controlled 1-ounce Mylar bags. It's top-shelf cannabis that ships directly to you and discreetly to all 50 states. This maybe is adding a little bit of extra something, this music. So go to cushydreams.com, Kushy dreams.com, and use promo code CMP to get 20% off your next order. Low THC. Toss away your carts, vapes, and gummies. That sounds pretty nice, huh? We're doing it, guys. Check out Cushy Dreams. That was fun.
I was jamming to that song. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, right. I wanted to talk about your Twitch career.
Oh, yes.
I feel like I'm like an aunt who's like, tell me about your twitching, Siri. So I'm going to pull this up here. This was a few months back. So tell me your feelings about Twitch, because some people, there was kind of a viral clip recently. It was a girl, she was basically sucking on like an ASMR ear machine. It looked like she was basically like blowing this like whatever it was, ASMR microphone. And of course, like as you can imagine, like conservatives, religious people, very upset to see the side of this, because it's basically like, it's basically porn, and it's on these sites where there's kids just trying to play video games and stream. So what are your thoughts overall? How did you get involved with Twitch, and what led up to you doing? So you did this bikini cooking show. They suspended you for it.
Memories.
Yeah. How did you get into Twitch?
Well, I started streaming on Twitch early on in quarantine. I'd always wanted to do it, honestly, and never really took the time to set it up, because it does take quite a bit of, I mean, you can throw up a camera and start Twitch streaming, but if you want to actually like get a channel going and have regular viewership and subscribers and stuff, you got to like sink quite a bit of money into it. So the time finally came when I was stuck at home for months during quarantine. So that's when I started building my Twitch channel. So in short, I've been streaming since May 2020. But I only got like super duper like serious about it, I would say like about a year in, because it took such a long time to really grow my channel. So I did that stream in June. It was right around my birthday, I think.
When's your birthday?
June 14th. My birthday is June 20th.
So you're Cancer or Gemini or cusp?
I'm a Gemini. I'm the very last day.
So is Frank's a Gemini. Oh,
hello, fellow Gemini Frank.
He doesn't like when I talk about astrology.
So even though I wasn't like new on Twitch at the time, I'd been on for over a year. Like I just hadn't ever done, like I'd only ever done gaming streams the whole time. And so only this past summer, I finally was like, I'll do like a hot tub stream is what they call it, which is funny because allowing hot tub streams on Twitch, like they created an official like hot tubs and pools category, was like very controversial, because the gaming community was like, you're not taking it seriously now. Like you're just giving these Twitch thoughts a place to like pal around in their swimsuits. But nevertheless, Twitch went ahead and officially made a category for hot tub streams. And a hot tub stream is essentially like most usually when you see it, it's a streamer. A lot of the time it's a hot girl in an inflatable tub, like an inflatable pool, like outside. So it's not like half the time it's not even really a hot tub. It's just an inflatable pool.
Any body of water, any container.
Yes. In a body of water.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you could get away with a bathtub. I'm pretty sure that would not that would not fly. But
so they banned the words hot tub entirely from the chat back in May. of last year.
What? Did they? I didn't even know that. That's interesting. Wait, was that before or after they made it an official category? Because this the timeline of that seems weird.
It does seem sus. And then this article here, it's hard to tell the date of this. Oh, 3 months ago. So maybe they banned it and then made it an official category, so they could probably
might have done
better control it. Yeah.
Well, either way, I started doing my own hot tub streams in a little like inflatable pool outside this summer. And and one day I was like gonna do a hot tub stream, and then I was like, nah, you know what? I have a HelloFresh, I'm gonna cook, and I like to do cooking streams sometimes too. And it was like 85 degrees inside my house, and so I went in my kitchen and I started making dinner on stream, and I was wearing a bikini the whole time. And it never occurred to me at all that was like a problem until I got suspended midstream and got an email from Twitch that was like, you're suspended for wearing situationally inappropriate attire.
You're like, really? You're telling me nobody cooks dinner and eats it in a bathing suit?
I was like, you don't know me. You don't know what I do in my own house. Also, this is totally normal for me. And literally my house is fucking hot as balls right now. So
if you had worn like a sweatsuit in a hot tub, that's not situationally appropriate.
Well, thank you, because that's literally what I did. My ban or my suspension was only 24 hours. So it's not like it lasted a long time. As soon as I was unsuspended, I went and I did a hot tub stream on Twitch, but fully clothed head to toe in long sleeves and pants.
Great.
Like in all black. I looked like a goth at the beach. And did I get suspended for wearing situationally inappropriate attire in a pool? No, I did not.
Probably not.
So
yeah,
I really showed them.
You showed them.
Gosh darn it.
Okay, so this article I think is it's Mel Magazine. Yeah, this is from 3 months ago, but that other one where they were talking about banning was from May of last year or so.
Yeah.
Interesting. So do you feel like this has helped? Because I understand, like, I don't want an 11-year-old, 12-year-old boy to, like, you know what I mean, stumble upon. I don't know. I just feel like I don't want them seeing sexually like suggestive stuff if they're trying to play Minecraft or whatever.
I mean, my perception is so different, like, because even as a streamer on Twitch, I actually don't remember off the top of my head if there is like if you can set your channel to be like adults only. I think maybe you can. It's like if it's just like not suitable. It doesn't mean it's adult content, obviously, because it's not allowed. It's a safe for work platform. But like it's like you don't suggest that your stream is something for children to be looking at.
Right.
I don't remember if that actually is a thing that you can set on Twitch. If it is, it's definitely a thing I have enabled. Every time I see that as an option on a platform, I enable it, like Twitter, etc. Like I always have the sensitive content thing marked.
And on YouTube, you can also click like,
yes,
you can go out of
I always have that clicked on my YouTubes too. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like I've been streaming for a year and a half on Twitch, and I know my stream community really well, and I'm a pretty small streamer. Like I usually have about 80 viewers concurrently on average, which is not a lot. It's small enough that I have a very, very in tune like grasp on who my audience is, and it's people like my age for the most part. It's like there aren't because my content's not interesting. I'm sorry. Like if you're like an underage person, even if you know my name because you've Googled me or something, like my content's not going to be really interesting on Twitch. Like I'm literally like nerding out playing video games.
Okay.
It's so safe for work. Like even when I was doing the hot tub streams, I wasn't even doing anything provocative. Like some streamers will do hot tub streams and they kind of make it into more of like, it feels like a cam show, you know, like they'll do like things for tips or whatever, and I like do not care because I don't even really try to monetize my Twitch channel very much. I just like get on stream and I do shit, and I'm like, if you like it, then subscribe or tip me. If you don't, I don't care. Like then you don't have to watch.
That makes sense. Red Sun Cloud, you seem really awesome and smart, Siri. Glad to see you on with Chrissie.
Why, thank you, Red Sun Cloud.
Fab Master's back. Fave type of 3-way off cam. Male, female, male, or female, male, female.
Anyone. Literally, I don't care. Whatever genitals. They're all fun.
Whatever.
All the twiddly bits.
So there's no process. Like I'm saying, I'm wondering if there's a random fan watching and they want to get into the industry, but there would be no way for them to get a shot with you to shoot content with. They'd have to be, tested through the industry and in it a few years for them to even have the shot. Or would you be like, maybe a fan?
I mean, if they're because like it's not like they have to think of it in terms of like, this is my business. Like if a fan just randomly wants to shoot with me, I'm like, cool, what are you offering me?
Right.
What's your content channel? Like how many eyeballs are going to be on this scene that we shoot together? Because I know on your end, it will be none because you don't have a career in this industry.
You're like, I would be bringing all the eyeballs. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, well, I'll pay you. And then I'm like, okay, well, now that's called escorting because you're just a private citizen wanting to pay me to have sex with me. I have no problem with that. I personally am in favor of all sex work being decriminalized. However, I don't escort.
Yeah.
This is and then I'm like, no, you're just getting into territory where I don't do that. So stop asking.
Yeah.
I literally these days, I just tell fans to go to this website, getmeintoporn.com.
Oh,
it's a real
so
website.
Simple.
Founded by someone in the industry who I know. It's like real porn stars run the site and they built it and they like put the content on there and it's literally like how to build a career if you want to be a porn star.
Getmeintoporn.com.
Yep.
I wonder if I can pull it up or if I'll get flagged. Let's see how juicy this landing page is. Okay, it's not at all. Interesting, guys that are listening that think you have what it takes.
But here's
porn.com.
Generally my favorite answer when a fan asks me, especially if they just like tweet me or whatever and ask me like, oh, how do I get started in the industry? I'm kind of a bitch about it. I usually answer by saying like, hey, if you're asking me and you're not resourceful enough to Google it for yourself and start putting some pieces together, I can already tell you this isn't the career field for you because you have to be extremely resourceful and self-sufficient and you have to be a fucking hustler to have a functional career in porn. And if you can't even do the bare minimum of like figuring out on your own, like just where you start, and you're going to just like find the biggest name porn star you can find to DM on Twitter and you're going to ask me like,
what's so funny?
Not a good sign, buddy.
I asked Mr. Marcus how he got in, and Mr. Marcus is like he's over 50.
Yeah.
And he has like the most opposite story. Like I was like, how did you get into it? And he's like, I literally was in an elevator and like a woman who was like very high up in the industry, like basically just scouted him, was like, you should, like was flirting with him and was like, you should be in porn. And it was like the most dream fantasy scenario. He just got plucked out of an elevator.
He started at a different time too.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
before the cell phone, before there were still like rotary phones when he got into the business. Yeah.
Oh, things were just so fucking different. Like in the, even just in a different, like earlier 2010s than they are now.
Oh, yeah.
And they were definitely way different, like in the 90s.
For sure. And like, it would make more sense for a guy to ask another guy in the industry than you.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. 100%. Yeah. I'm like, why are you asking me? Like, my experience is nothing like what you will experience. I have no valuable information to offer you at all.
Yeah. This question about the pay difference for men and women. I feel like, don't men get paid less than women in the industry, or is that a rumor?
I would say no, that's pretty much true. Like on and there's different ways of looking at it. So if I would say on average, a per scene rate, like you get hired to do a boy girl sex scene, like the woman's rate is usually higher than the man's. There's some differences though. It's like if it's a brand new female performer, her rate might be lower than the guy's. If the guy in the scene is like just one male performer of the year last year and he's like the most popular male performer. So like factors like how long someone's been in the industry will definitely influence the rate that they can command. But generally speaking, women do get paid more than men, but also women are on set typically for like 8 hours.
Because hair and makeup
for like 3 hours. So even if you break it down, I've always said, like, if you break it down like on a per hour basis, it's actually usually coming out to be pretty equal. And women incur way more costs doing the work than men do. I mean, if you guys, like, if you saw my
More
just
maintenance.
overhead of like fucking physical maintenance and like beauty treatments that I have to do to be camera ready all the time, this is shit that I wouldn't do if I weren't in porn. And I know that because I retired from porn for 5 years and I didn't do any of it and I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So it's more expensive. You get paid more if you're a woman in porn, but it's way more expensive to be a woman in porn.
More upkeep, and you're kind of the one that people are there to look at.
It's also more like taxing on your body. I mean, actually, that one is maybe arguable because male performers work very hard physically.
And if they're shooting something into their dick to be hard, like that's definitely taxing on their body.
Yeah, no, I mean, physically, like, it's like you're basically in a plank position for like an hour straight. So like there's physical challenges on both sides. I think women's bodies kind of assume a little more of the sexual health risk, though, generally.
True.
I mean, not only are we possibly able to get pregnant, depending on what our birth control situation is, but generally speaking, women, it's a little easier for people with vaginas to like contract STIs because vaginas can tear, and that is an easier way for transmittal of diseases, you know? Or even just like bacterial infections. I'm getting into like maybe some TMI. I don't know what your listeners like want to hear about, but I don't know. All that stuff happens. Bodies are somehow strong and also really fragile, weirdly, at the same time.
Yeah, like a pH. Yeah, you could take like a pounding, but like a slight pH imbalance. Will
exactly.
Screw you over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forget what which friend it was telling me about, but she was telling me all about. Is it borax or the thing like
borax? Yeah.
The wonders of borax. So I'm like,
amazing.
I've learned a lot over the years.
It's kind of terrifying when you first hear it. You're like, acid in your vagina?
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's exactly what she wants. Do it. It's like the
cleans it out. I want to get your thoughts really quickly on this. I was sent this email. So apparently and I've talked about this on a previous stream, but I guess there are companies that reach out to people. Like, obviously a lot of people think I have an OnlyFans, so it's not so crazy, but I didn't know this was such a common practice that basically they have these companies that are like, okay, we will basically answer your OnlyFans messages for you and we'll keep up with all the back and forth so it frees up more time for you. And then I was like, oh, like for $13 a month, you can have somebody else. And I was like, I got a little bit sad because I was like, do you think a lot of girls are doing this? Number one, Siri. Number two, do you think this takes away from the sort of fan experience and like that personal connection that a lot of guys think they have when they sign up for OnlyFans?
First of all, I mean, I haven't heard of this company, but also like usually you don't hear about like, so I will say OnlyFans management or just like management companies in general for adult is like definitely a thing. I mean, that's been around on some level for like a very long time. I think it's probably a thing that people take note of more now because of OnlyFans. I have no idea if this is like a legit thing though, because I haven't heard of this company, but it totally looks like it could be. Like, it looks like a legitimate like business proposition to me.
I was just like, oh man, Rapesh is going to be responding to my OnlyFans. Not me.
I know people in my industry who have worked with like management companies with varying degrees of success, and it seems to just depend on like whether it's like a good business relationship more than anything. And at the end of the day, I think, I don't know, when it comes to like fan interactions, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, so I take someone like, you know who Angela White is?
Yeah.
In the porn industry. How many followers does she have on sorry, not OnlyFans, but on Instagram? She has like 8 million followers, 10 million, somewhere in that ballpark.
My God, how do you?
And we know she makes content on OnlyFans. Like, now I don't know personally whether she's using management on her OnlyFans or not. I would maybe guess that she might be.
She probably
only for the fucking sheer reason that if she's one human being who's also really, really busy and has a very successful career, and if I'm Angela White or someone at her level of popularity and I'm on OnlyFans, like I literally can't, like it's literally not possible to respond to all your like it's not fucking possible.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do? You just don't use the platform at all? or do you use the platform to the best of your ability with like the best management that you can use so that your fans still get the experience that they want?
That's true. And like if
Yeah.
I'm a guy on Angela White's OnlyFans, it's like, come on. Like I would also expect that she's going to be really busy and what are
Yeah.
the odds that it's actually going to be her? But
Yeah. Like I've never used management before on my OnlyFans, and like I've thought about doing it. And like that's just one of those things that's like it's a really big decision to do it because it's a change in the way I run my business. But like literally that's the exact thing I just described is the reason why I thought about it, because there's like there's a point where you reach a level of demand from your fans that you realize you as one human being cannot meet indefinitely. And it's like, well, what do I do? Do I have to tell some of my fans to leave? Like, I mean, it's my business. I don't want to do that. Like,
true.
Like, hey, hold on. There's too many of you. We're going to close the doors. Come back at 4:00 when we have more barbecue or whatever.
And I noticed there's a site called Fans Utopia. I didn't know if this was your site or just a site that like you can use to like basically sell your personal items, which I think is interesting and cool.
It's a third party, so it's not my personal site, but it's a friend of mine who runs that business, and it's amazing, and I'm so fucking happy that she's doing it because it's helped me and saved me a ton of time.
Is this you?
Basically, yeah, that's me.
Ooh, yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is so great. You can buy Chrissie Mayr, who I know, who I've interviewed. Her socks are here. You can buy this guy's socks.
Yeah.
You can buy
it's
this
just
guy's
worn
items. Yeah.
Worn stuff from your favorite Pern people.
Why are her socks so dirty? Is that how people like them?
You go up to the top of the site and then go to the goods, and it's alphabetical order. And I'm like near the bottom-ish because I'm S.
Oh, right. Okay. Is there nudity on here? Oh, well, I guess we'll see.
There might be some nudity on there.
No. Okay. But that's super cute. I think you guys get the gist. Get the gist of what they sell.
Yeah, there is some nudity on there. So good call not scrolling down. But yeah, like, so it's basically because I mean, I've always sold my like worn stuff, but I like my big thing in 2022 is like I'm gonna try and get some of my free time back because I have none. And so for example, something like selling worn items, I literally constantly field requests for that, and it's been a thing where like I'll get like 30 requests and be able to actually respond to and fulfill 2 orders.
Oh wow.
Because I literally don't have time. So this is a fantastic idea, Fans Utopia, and she's a genius for coming up with it, because I'm like, this is fantastic. It's full service. So like I like help her with like the pricing and everything, and like I get all the photos of everything, and they're real things that I've worn. Like they're all like my actual undies that I wear, or they're like outfits I wore in scenes.
How do you figure out how because one time, a couple of people have asked me for worn items over the years. I'm like, I don't have time. I can't keep track of the same pair of socks. Like, and I also didn't even know the charge. And I was like, this is a pain for me. But then I'm like, okay, does someone ever request like, oh, you have to wear this thing for like 2 weeks straight? It's like, I would never wear underwear for like more, I don't know, maybe 2 times max. Like, I could never, it would be icky.
I've definitely been asked, but I'm also at the level where I can just be like, no.
Just be like, no. How do you figure out what to charge for things?
I don't know. Like, I feel like when I first started selling worn items, it was back when I was newer, like 2013, 2014. And I just kind of like asked other people in the industry what they sold it at. And then over the years, I've just changed pricing as I got like a bigger fan base with more popularity. So basically I sell them for a price that I know people will buy them for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew Hammond says Chrissie needs to put Frank to work selling his socks. I would love to sell Frank socks. He has so many just single socks all over the room, and then the dog will like pick
individual socks.
Individual socks are everywhere, and then like a dog will come in and pick one off and then run off with it, and that's how we get socks that never match ever again. Aww. Just loose socks all over. Yeah, I'll never forget somebody.
Matching socks are overrated.
Was it? Who was it? That said, like, if you want to sell your socks and get them like smelling bad quicker, just lick your hand and then I guess like put that on your foot, and then I don't know, for that for some reason it makes your socks smell like footier. I was like,
I mean, I guess it's sort of like putting your saliva on your feet is like akin to like making your feet sweaty instantaneously or something. Like
that's probably it.
Kind of grossing me out though.
A little bit, yeah. I'm like, I just feel like there's.
Funnily enough, socks are like the one thing I don't have for sale in Fans Utopia. There's stockings, like pantyhose, but not socks.
Yeah.
I should put. I need a. Well, there we go. I need to send Fans Utopia some socks for my next my next batch.
That sounds fun. People should go to SiriDahl.com. They can follow you on Instagram at the Siri Dahl.
Dahl is DAHL for folks who are listening, not watching.
DAHL, not DOLL.
Yeah. Like Roald Dahl.
Yes. Is there anything else that you want to plug or promote or let people know about?
Man, just that I'm awesome.
You are awesome.
You know, follow my new TikTok because I just deleted. I had 2 TikTok accounts. One had almost 400,000 followers, and I voluntarily just deleted it today. It's a long story, so follow my new TikTok account. It's called Stronk Siri, STRONKSIRI.
What does strong mean?
It's like strong, but like sort of like it's like a powerlifter meme speak thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like you're strong, but you're not like really strong. You're like strong, kind of like derpy but strong. Which really describes me. So yeah.
Okay, I love it. This was great. Siri, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you guys for your comments and questions and super chats. Appreciate all of that, guys. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.